Hello, everybody. I am Kanzuri. I'm joined today with Ryan Clark. My
Hello.
oh fuck! I decided to stretch.
Off to a great start.
Oh yeah, we're professionals here, don't you know? Um,
Of course.
Ryan is the person who's mostly been helping me with the music, and we're doing a track by track today.
I did the Blooms.
You did the Bloms.
Did the
Anyway,
Blooms.
quick disclaimer: we're going to be talking about neglect, abuse, abandonment issues,
Trauma.
yeah, trauma in general. So if that's not really something you're mentally prepared for today, you might want to come back.
Might want to just not listen to this album.
Honestly, yeah, it might not be for you, but that's okay, you know? People don't have to like listen to it. You know? If it my thought behind these track by tracks and the reason we're putting them out so much later than the album is I want people to be able to formulate their own opinions about, you know, what these songs are first. And I want to,
Because art is subjective.
yeah, art's objective, art's objective. And I think one of the most fun things you can do with art is sort of derive your own meaning from it, or especially without the artist's input necessarily. It's part of the reason I love Sleep Token so much, you know, because they
Yeah.
just flat out don't give you answers at all.
They just give you it, and that's it.
They give you the song and let you do your thing. And everything
Yeah,
else is
you're just
so
waiting, and
cryptic.
one day they fucking drop a banger on you, and it's just like, what does it mean?
The numbers, Mason, what do they mean? I've been up for like maybe 30 minutes. I'm not awake. I'm going to be very incoherent throughout this entire thing. Because it takes me a good at least 30 minutes to wake up if I've gotten decent sleep. And I have not. So today we're talking about the song I think came out the best out of the album, or out of the EP. Forgive My Negligence. We're also talking about the song that came out the objectively the worst, which is Carterized. Let's start with Forgive My Negligence. So this was the third song released, and if I remember correctly, this was the first song that you and I had wrote together, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember when you first told me about this. This was the one you had me come over and.
yeah. And we just listened to like all of Sleep Token the night before. Because we were gonna listen to the
Yeah.
new Demon Hunter album, and the Demon Hunter album got postponed, so we couldn't listen to it.
Yeah. I went full Pepe Sylvia. Fucking the board and everything, just trying to figure out what do they mean.
We went to a show that night
Who is
too.
sleep?
It was your first show.
Yeah, that was an experience.
um, so forgive my negligence. The way the bass line was written, uh, I literally just had Orion pick a number between 1 and 11, and he landed on 9. He built the entire bass line around a few notes in about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
And the bass line came first with pretty much every single song.
that's because we
Because
only had a bass at the time.
yeah, we didn't get a well, I didn't get a actual guitar until I think until around the time Negligence was actually recorded. No, it was before then. Because there were I played some acoustic strings on Cauterize. They gave it a little bit more oomph. I think that's
Yeah,
part of the reason this EP, despite how short it was, it took so long. Because it just never like things didn't line up the way I needed them to.
yeah,
So
well, that's life.
let's talk about the image for a minute. You got the generation done for that one. Was that World Builder? You remember?
I don't. I'd have to relook at the image. It's been a while.
Okay,
If
go.
I see the image, I'll know what it is.
Okay, look it up real quick. Actually, yeah, no, this one was from you putting lyrics in for the song specifically, as I recall. Um, yeah, all of our images,
This is
all of our like visualizers are AI generated. Um, we've done our best to make sure it's like ethical AI generation. So we've mostly been using Old Builder and DALL-E, which is now Crayon. But I think we're gonna be moving to Crayon for the future because I understand that's known to be for sure ethically made. Not, like as much as I want to like have art to visualize the songs, I also want to make sure that like we're not screwing over actual artists.
yeah.
As like
Also, I do want to eventually just like commission actual artists as well.
well, I think some point in the future, when we have enough like actual money to do so, what I want to do is I want to work with like
Yeah.
Sean Koss, um, other artists I can't think of the name of at the moment. I'm not awake enough, but Sean Koss comes to mind because his art's very, very um specific, I think, and I think it would work with some of our music. Um, I would love to work with whoever's been doing the art for the current Sleep Token album going on.
Honestly, I fucking those
I'm pretty sure it's
designs.
just like 3D renders, but that would be really cool.
The both the both 3D and the 2D ones,
Yeah,
because they're
yeah,
because they
because
have
the
a 3D
singles
one for the video.
have like their own 2D animation, and it's just pure black and white, and it's so cool looking.
I fucking love it. Yes.
Yeah, you showed me that work in progress animation for the Sleep Token video for the summoning. Like I
Um,
think it was yesterday
yeah,
or
that
something.
fan one.
Yeah,
Yeah, that one was also fucking.
it was a little jank. Like you can tell it's 3D animation. And I think since it was 3D animation, they could have done more interesting stuff with the mask. Like having it embedded into Vessel's face, essentially. We're talking about Sleep Token. We're supposed to be talking about our music.
We're talking about a fan animation for Sleep Token.
I mean,
By the way, it's done by Mortal Shore Studio. Please go check them out.
for sure, for sure. If you don't know who they are, you do now, and you have no reason not to. And We both
They
employ
probably
you.
have more subscribers than us anyway, but still.
Okay, I've always been a fan in the crowd type of person. Not necessarily in the crowd, but like a fan in the crowd type of person. Even if our music becomes like #1 hits all for like a decade or something like that. If we get as big as like Green Day or Slipknot or
By
whoever
some
else,
fucking miracle.
which I don't ever expect, but like if we manage that, even then I'll still be
But
going. I'll
some
still be
small chance
listening
that
to
we do.
still be listening to other art. I'll still be exploring new art because that's what I love in life. And that's why I make music, you know. It's not it's not for other people. I just want to make art. Speaking of,
Yeah.
so there's not a whole lot I can really talk about as far as like the the bass line and like music theory and what does the notes mean and all that because I don't know.
We don't know that.
We didn't know music theory going
We
into
don't have
this.
any training.
I've done a lot more learning in music theory, so we'll be able to more more properly introduce that. Forgive My Negligence wasn't actually the original name, if I remember. What was it?
It's been so long. What was it?
I know it's a line in the song. Hang on.
Was it Calamity?
No, we played around with Calamity, but I didn't like that name at all. It was a Husk of a Facade.
Oh, yeah.
We called it Husk of a Facade for so long. And I never liked that name. And I couldn't think of a better name for the longest time, so we were just calling it Husk of a Facade for quite a while. Until randomly, it just kind of clicked in my brain. Oh, we can call this Forgive My Negligence. Because the song's kind of
Yeah,
this.
like one,
The song's kind of this
like you
tongue in
just
cheek.
showed up and it was just like, this is my song now, the name of the song now. And I was just like, oh, okay.
um, but I decided on Forgive My Negligence because it's this sort of tongue in cheek reference to like, yo, I'm so sorry I'm not good enough kind of shit. Yeah, and that's kind of what the song's about, I think. It's like, you know, not feeling adequate enough. Like the lyrics, we wrote them in a very peculiar way, and I injected it with a lot of the first verse has like a lot of self-hate in it, and then we get to the second verse and it's this like almost pseudo-religious verse, and
Yeah.
I remember we were having a lot of trouble getting the verses right because the way I wanted it to go is we would have each of the two verses got split into two parts essentially, and I wanted the first half to mirror the second half. So, um,
Yeah, this one went through a lot of trial and error. We changed quite a few lines.
yeah, but I'm a husk of a facade. Um, I'm a husk of a facade I could never be. Became I'm a memory of a silhouette of what's left of me. And those lines are meant to like parallel each other. And the same thing happens in the second verse with every single line. That's why there's a break like in the middle of the verse. Um, Partially because like we don't know what we're doing, but also because like I wanted it that way because I wanted a little bit of
Symbolism.
I did want a little bit of a distinction between like the first half and the second half of the verses because I
Yeah.
wanted there to be like this parallel between them. And in doing so, we kind of made this really, I want to say avant-garde. Don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but we made this sort of avant-garde. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Hang on.
Don't ask me. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, yeah, avant-garde is the word I'm looking for. Um, we made this sort of avant-garde like lyrical structure, and I think it came out really interesting. And with the instrumentals, I wanted to do something in that notion as well. And I remember talking to you about it, and I was like, hey, we can probably do breakdown at speed, but it's gonna take me some more time. But what I'm thinking about doing is I don't want to create it at full speed. I want to slow it down. And we ended up going with that idea so hard that the sort of breakdown at the end of the verses, or at the end of the chorus, is played at half speed, and it's this really slow, just kind of bounced kind of thing, right? It's just this really slow kind of pure instrumental
Yeah.
track. And I personally think what's symbolized there is it's my facade breaking for a moment because Tanzuri as a character is throughout this album, throughout this EP, slowly losing his grip on like this sort of I'm fine mentality and pretending everything's okay.
Literally the burning. I'm
This is
fine.
fine.
Or what? It's fine. Yeah, this is fine.
This is fine. But I think it worked out really well to help like symbolize what the listener is going to be experiencing on this EP. And I think it,
We got a
yeah.
feedback that I think I really like the word he chose, which was manic.
Oh yeah, Bucket of Jake. Um, I kind of
I
want to
think
not
manic is
talk
like sleep.
as a stand.
Like I don't want to get into that about that. Just this in general, just like the word manic, I think works really well as like a feeling
Yeah,
of
I think Elation was like the main song we were aiming for a manic energy on. But I don't want to talk about Bucket of Jake too terribly much yet. I want to save him for general discussion at the very end of the track by track.
part of why I didn't bring up the name. I would just said the critique we got.
Well, brain goes and then immediately,
Yeah, connects wires. Go.
And in a moment of pure word association, it said, fuck the police. But someone had said police because the police had shown up.
Showing up. We gotta get back on topic again.
I mean, this is gonna be the entire track by track, so like, if you're upset with us getting off topic constantly, I have some news for you, buddy. Um,
Here's some stuff. No, we are not high. We are just tired and both have ADHD.
and apparently it can. So, Cauterize is shit. This was the first song released, um, because it was the first song that we could that I could just do on my own, and it was the only song that I could really do on my own. Uh, as Orion came in and did, um, for the most part, he did all the drums. I would step in and do the drums when Ryan was AWOL again. But um,
Yeah, I just disappear into the void. Hey.
I'm gonna kill you. Anyway, but Cauterize, I spent a solid like month trying to figure out how I'd record this, and my brain kind of went, you're not gonna be able to record this in any normal way. You're gonna have to sing and play the bass at the same time, and just hope that comes out right. And it most certainly did not.
It came out. It just
It was
did
it could have been a lot better than what it came out as.
not have a very good mic.
The song didn't lend itself to being recorded very well. It was the second song ever written, um, both in lyrics and the second song I've ever written, both in lyrics and in bassline. Um, and it's not very good, I think. It definitely does exemplify the point that I was trying to make in that song, which was you heard me, essentially. Which, I mean, is
Yeah.
a fairly basic concept, but I think the way I handled it was, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm stroking my ego or anything, but I feel like I handled it pretty well, like comparatively.
If we're gonna stroke egos, I think lyrically we're pretty okay.
Well, that's mostly because I've been writing poems since like sixth grade, and I'm 23 at the moment, about to be 24, so
Yeah.
like I've got a few years experience in that.
Younger than me? I keep forgetting.
I am. I am. We establish this so often.
I forget my own age. Don't.
I mean, the disassociation probably doesn't help in your case, but oh well, I suppose.
True, but
So, one thing I think a lot of people would ask is why did I use so many big words for such a simple topic? And it's because I wanted to. I wanted to use like
got a
this.
thesaurus for Christmas. I had to use it some way.
I don't need a thesaurus though. Like these are just words I know. Like I need to double check their definition occasionally to make sure I'm using them properly. But I just know a lot of these
These are
words.
words I know. I have a
And, I'm not trying to
65% confidence.
I'm not trying to be like R slash I am very smart or anything. I just happen to know a lot of words because one thing my English teacher in sophomore year told me something that stuck with me a lot. It was there are too many words in the English language for you to just use the same 7 words to say you're happy. And that stuck with me so much because like in a way like I think that's more how do I word this? That's like this like it's such an interesting concept, I guess. Cuz like you hear so many songs nowadays that are like you heard me and stuff like that. But if you look at it just lyrically, they're kind of just the same song in a way. And like that's not shitting on the artist, I think. Like it, or at least I'm not trying to. But like it's so odd to me that so many songs are like almost copy paste of each other for such a vast and
Yeah.
broad topic as feeling pain because another person screwed you over in one way or another. This song, by the way, something something we didn't talk about with Forgive My Negligence. Song was written after a friend of mine. Okay, so I have never told you this story. Chris, you scared the shit out of me, man. Um, um, so,
Yeah.
okay. So like I was saying, the there's a story that happened that came into making this song. So I was at work one day and I had just started my current job. And a friend of mine had texted me and like I gave a trauma response and they were like, fuck you, essentially, to make a long story short. And that interaction is what led to writing Cauterize. Um, and I wrote the lyrics like later that night because I couldn't go to sleep and I wanted to write something about the interaction I had that day because it kind of
Yeah.
affected me pretty badly, as I'm sure you can understand. And
Yeah.
and I wrote it that night. And at that time I was playing bass, but I wasn't particularly good yet. I didn't feel that I had a very good grasp on what it was to play bass. But a couple weeks prior, or I had done I'm sorry, and it didn't come out very good either. But I came back to my bass one day and I was intending to just kind of practice scales and mess around a bit, but I ended up just kind of writing the bass line, Cauterize, and I based it around the lyrics, and and that's why it became so hard to record because the way it was written wasn't wasn't proper, you know? So the key change happens. There's a lot
You
of
can
like key
define.
changes. There's a lot of time signature changing. I don't even know what the BPM is. Like it's pretty messy. But I think it being messy in a way sort of exacerbates the point that I'm trying to make is that a lot of times like when people leave you, it's messy. You don't always get like the closure you want. And sometimes you're just kind of left in this state of like, oh shit, what now?
Nah, I feel that. You know why.
I do, but I'm not gonna get into it.
I'm not gonna get into. Yeah.
But these emotions kind of like come about in that form. And I believe if I'm not mistaken, Arterize was also AI generated by World Builder. And like I mentioned, we're probably gonna go to DALL E from now on. But this album does has have some World Builder in it as well. Um, but yeah, Because I think AI generation art is cool, but I think you need to be as ethical as you can be. You're gonna use it for like
Hmm.
monetary reasons.
I believe the uses of it are like they're the uses are what's the word I'm looking for? Situational. Like
Yeah.
for I think for specific uses of it there's a lot of utility in it.
Well,
Well then you also just have
for me, I believe that like for the emotions we're specifically trying to convey, AI generated art is going to be able to try to show what we're trying to convey emotionally better than like getting a commission done in a lot of ways. Because as much as I
yeah. It
like
lends itself to more abstract concepts than you really would get with
with
because
commissions,
explaining emotions is hard enough in general,
yeah,
especially to other people.
what's that
So trying to get someone to draw an emotion.
draw to convey an emotion at the very least. It's not feasible really. And I hate to say that because like I want to be able
I
to
mean,
promote smaller artists. Well, we're smaller artists at the moment, right? But I want to be able to like promote art through our music.
don't get me wrong. I think it can be done, and I've seen artists that can do the sort of things. But at the same time,
Like I mentioned,
it's one thing when you're creating your own art piece about emotions you feel versus trying to convey that to another person and get them to draw because people feel emotions in different ways.
yeah, it's all based off like perspective and stuff. But we're gonna get existential if we keep talking about that topic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What do you mean? We already are existential.
I mean, not too bad on this CP at least. Probably gonna get a lot more existential in the next project. Um, with Cauterize, the reason we went with this one specifically is it shows this like vaguely woman-esque figure, kind of doing this like uncanny hand gesture with this like almost growth behind her, and it's like almost
Yeah.
alien in a way. You have some noise in the background. You can do anything about that?
My air conditioning just turned on.
Okay. Um, I'll need to remember to edit these little
I have,
bits out. Um, but it
yeah,
looks alien and it looks like kind of uncomfortable despite the fact that it's vaguely human. And I think that works really well for like what's being conveyed within Cauterize. Because it's like, yes, you're human, but even even humans will oftentimes feel alien to people. Like it just because you're human doesn't mean you're like going to get along with someone, you know? It doesn't mean you're going to like feel comfortable with your emotions around them, stuff like that.
yeah,
And then with Forgive My Negligence, the artwork is this like kind of uncomfortable looking figure, almost like a ghost with a with this like cityscape in the background. And I think the reason that works so well, like for Negligence, is it's this like I'm here, but you're not really seeing me, even though I'm the focal point. And I
Yeah.
think that very much works with what Forgive My Negligence is talking about. And as much as I really just want to go ahead and go into the next song, I think we should hold off. So we said we'd do like two a day. And while we definitely have
Yeah.
time, I do kind of want to the brakes a little, you know?
That makes sense.
So, do you have any comments, questions, concerns, etc. for these two songs specifically?
I know I'm a part of it, but I'm probably not going to have too much to say because, again, this is very much your project that you brought me on to help
Well,
with.
well, yes, but part of the reason I'm bringing you in on the track by tracks is I'll be able to talk about this shit better than the last track by
Yeah.
track attempt I did. Which, by the way, the reason it's not something you can watch is because it's very bad. It was a shit show, like absolute trash. Do not advise
Yeah.
asking for it because it's pretty bad.
I will say is just I really like overall, because like I don't want to say I'm pessimistic about things, but I'm very straightforward. If I like, it's like, oh, I do like forgive my negligence. I do slightly disagree that it was the one that came out the best.
Well, I think we're going to disagree with that for a long time.
True,
If I remember
true,
correctly, the one that you think came out the best was Neglect.
yes, very similar, but
I mean, you
in
even
naming, but
mentioned you even mentioned that like, why did I make two songs with very similar names? It's because they're about the same persons. Both of them are about my
but
parents, which I can comfortably say because they will never watch this. Because they don't give a shit about my music.
hooray for parental issues.
I mentioned to
But
you absolutely all the time that I want to be able to make like joke songs, songs that aren't meant to be taken seriously,
yeah,
that don't have a heavy topic, but like also trauma.
yeah, that's always the thing of just like I think of like
What what's
because
fueling
I
What's fueling Kanzuri music, you ask? Trauma. Your fucking trauma and self-hatred.
trauma.
Not self-loathing, self-hatred.
But yeah, no, the track by tracks that I'm just like, I, and again, this is just me personally because I'm very much when listening to music in general, a lyric forward person.
Yeah.
Like, you can give me
Well, something I want to be able to
a,
do in the future is like you know my Basement is my personal favorite band of all time. And what I want to be
yeah,
able to do is emulate the way that their instrumentation and lyrics work so well in tandem that you can't really just look at the lyrics or just look at the instrumentation. Because if you do, you're missing so much of the song. And I want to be able to do that myself,
yeah,
which is part of the reason I'm
and
working so hard on learning music theory. Like shit like that. Because I want to be able to do that. That was such a big experience for me. Like understanding that you can't really have the lyrics without the song, without the instruments, and vice versa. But we're
Yeah.
starting to go into general discussion territory. I wanted to save that for the third track by track. These songs are pretty short though. So I think
Yeah, they're not long songs, but then again,
I think one of the biggest criticisms we had was outside of like general not great production quality is the songs are very short, and part of the reason for that is I don't really know how to do instrumentation. Just doing instrumentals, you
yeah,
know? Forgive my
short
negligence.
and
Forgive my negligence was like the closest we got to just having instrumental in a song. And I think it worked really well, actually.
I did,
Anyway, I think that's what we have to talk about today.
yeah, that'll probably wrap it up.
It's been wonderful rambling with you, Orion, as always. Um, Thank you all for listening to the track by track. Go check out Into the Void if you've listened to the track by track this far and haven't heard the EP. I'm disappointed immeasurably. Because, like I said at the start, I want this to be supplementary. I don't want you to listen to the track by track and then go listen to the songs. I want you to listen to the songs first, formulate your own opinion, what they're about, and then come back to the track by track. But we'll see y'all in the next one.
Also, if you want to, just leave a comment on how you feel about them.
Yeah,
I'd
tell
love to
us their
read and see what other people interpret.
tell us their shit so we know that they're shit.
Yes. Mm. Tell us how bad they are.
Tell us their shit and then hit subscribe so you can make sure that on every single video we put out, you tell us how bad we are. I would very much appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Get to a
Love
million
you all.
dislikes, even though we can't see them.
And make sure to dislike. Make sure to dislike. If you don't have every single one of your friends disliking music, Kanzuri, you are doing yourself a disservice. If it's not obvious, we don't take ourselves seriously at all, by the way. But we'll see
Nah.
y'all in the next one, which this is gonna be in a playlist. So we'll start in about 10 seconds. Bye bye.